Well, I'm gonna wait on.
Yeah, it's been.
Hold on a minute. I need to wait on.
She could be in.
Hold on 1 second.
There he comes.
If you can't find a seat, just pull one.
So,
All right, y'all ready?
yes,
All right, call to order, Rankin City Council, Monday, October 14th. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Scott,
Here.
Councilmember Underwood,
here.
Mayor Pro Tem Exley,
Here.
Councilmember Blackwell,
Here.
Councilmember Taylor,
Here.
Councilmember Riley,
Here.
All right, invocation and pledge for the invocations given tonight by Pastor Hazel Maynor with Mount Carmel Deliverance Center. And this just remain standing for the pledge.
I would like to thank you all for doing an awesome job this year, doing. Doing an awesome job in the city of Lincoln. We thank you for all your work and dedication. Your body hits in prayer. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for all that you're doing in the city of Lincoln. Father God, we ask you to bless the mayor. Bless these councilmen, oh God. Help them to make wise decisions. Decision that's going to be a benefit to the people and not a hindrance. We ask you to continue to cover us, oh God. Keep away the storm. Keep away trouble. Keep away destruction, oh God. Bless us in our going and our coming. Let us be a city of love, where love is shed abroad in all our hearts and minds. Those that come into the city of Lincoln will feel the love, will feel the care that we are for the people, oh God. And we ask you, oh God, to bless Lincoln, oh God. In the name of Jesus, bless our school system. Bless every officer, everyone in the city of Lincoln, oh God. Bless us, oh God. Give us the righteous desires of your heart. We thank you, and we ask you to bless Lincoln, and God bless America. Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Maynor. All right, guys, we'll start off approving tonight's agenda. Motion's in order to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
I got a motion by Ms. Underwood, a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next we're approving the minutes of the September 23rd, 2024.
I have a few corrections I found. I think it was on item 5. It was said something about mayor and council. Second paragraph should read Mayor Pro Tem or council member Exley. Is what they were, both terms were used in the thing. I think it's correct to say Mayor Pro Tem Exley, and then one part it had, item 5, it had Councilman Exley.
I had one thing just about item number 1, and it was really just a follow-up question. We mentioned in that meeting that the DOT permit needed to be requested for the parade route. Do we know if if it's not taken in time, we'll have trouble getting that permit?
It's approved. I can report it to Mayor Council if you like.
Nope. Your word is your bond, sir.
Then for the September 23rd, item 7, it has, that was our taking action that is needed for items from executive section. There should have been a no action taken statement there. It was just blank. Like in item 6, we had no executive session, so.
Make a motion to approve as amended.
I'll second that with the amendments.
I got a
corrections.
motion by Ms. Riley and a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion. All right, we'll move into the approval of October 4th, 2024 minutes. Anybody have anything on that? Or motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Ms. Riley. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll move into the public comment section. Obviously, we don't have anybody here to make any comments, not unless one of you guys want to make a comment. But they'll be on agenda items only. Should you wish to appear before council, the forms can be found at City Hall. And then right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn the meeting over to our public hearing officer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will open the public hearing to review proposed amendments to the City of Lincoln ordinances, specifically Chapter 90, Growth Management and Zoning, that being development processes and subdivision regulations. And I imagine Ms. Lewis has a few words to share.
All right, so these are the next two chapters that we are bringing forward, 6 and 8. They're really the final two chapters, although we do still have the overlay districts that will come before y'all, and then we will adopt the whole UDO again with any changes that we've identified and the zoning map and overlay district maps at the same time. These two chapters represent the subdivision regulations and development processes. So I'm just going to hit on a couple of kind of significant changes that we're making. This is the public hearing, so if you have any changes, we can certainly make those before first and second reading. So with the development review or the development process changes, a couple of things of note. After talking to several developers, and we did have kind of a little core developer team that we pulled together with our consultant to talk about what they kind of what they had experienced going through the development process with the city. And so they gave comments and our consultant made some changes based on that. And then I had comments as well. So what we're looking at doing is, instead of right now, if you'll remember, before anything comes to the board and to council, it has gone through full review of civil, landscaping, all of that. So somebody's expending a lot of time and money on something before it even comes to y'all. So what we're proposing to do is that they come with a site development plan that goes through a cursory staff review and then goes to the board and council. It will still show those types of items that council wants to see. So it'll show you access. It'll show, where they expect to be doing the stormwater, some things like that will be shown on there, but you're not going to get landscape plans. You're not going to get full utility plans, anything like that. So that's what would come before the board and council. And then once they got council approval, then that's when they would be released to kind of go do all of their full civil sets of everything. And then that would be approved at the staff level. So that's a pretty significant change. So it would be kind of like I said, a site plan that would come through the process that you're used to right now. And then that full civil set would go through planning. One of the things that we are still going to allow, though, is a sketch plan process. If you remember that warehouse down at the north end, they haven't started building it yet, right past the church. That property was really concerned about access, and would the city give them access off of 21 until that shared access could be developed? So somebody that wants to get input from council before that, we're going to allow them to still go through the sketch plan process, but we're going to have them skip planning and zoning board for that and go straight to council because they're looking for that specific question to be answered.
Okay.
So
That
that's a pretty significant change.
makes sense.
And then another change that we're looking at is related to variances. Right now, if somebody wants a variance, it goes through kind of that same process we just talked about, staff, planning and zoning board, council. And we are proposing to take variances and treat them 3 different ways. So there would be the the typical variance. I'm a commercial developer and I need to get a variance from the buffer regulations. That would go to Planning and Zoning Board for a recommendation, council for approval. If somebody has a duplex or a single-family home and they would like a variance, we're proposing that that would go to the Planning and Zoning Board for a final decision. And if it needed to be appealed, that appeal would go to council. And then the other item, then we have administrative variances, and with those, anything less than 10% of the requirements could be handled at the staff level. So, and again, they still have to submit an application, they still have to show how they meet the criteria for each of these 3 different levels. But so if somebody, needed a, 1 to 2 foot variance, it's something that they could go through administratively versus going through Planning and Zoning Board and council.
And you would sign off and then the city.
For the administrative variances, yes.
Okay.
So- So signage would still, so unless it was such a small variance that it fell into that administrative variance, if it was anything bigger than that, it would come to council,
And administrative is like what, 10%?
10%.
On site plans, sketch plan approvals, because we've been through this with the property owner gas plan. There was discussion when all that happened that from that point forward, we needed to make sure that we asked that site plans are engineered, that they don't get to draw their house on it.
Oh, right, yes, we have made that, we've made that, incorporated that change.
They've got to be engineered.
Yes.
Would, like, they would probably want to see the end product, which is the landscape plan offer. So the site plan with the landscaping on it.
Okay,
I would think you'd want to see, as opposed to staff approving that, because what's going to happen is council, at the end of the product, if they see that and it's not what they want, the beautification department.
Thank
you for
that.
I mean, I'm just saying, those are just 2 things.
We're trying to get some uniformity.
What she's doing makes all the sense in the world, because what you have is developers pay engineers a lot of money, come in with a whole set of civils. And if the project gets turned down, then that's just money.
Exactly.
And also locating on the landscaping, in the old part of the city and along 21, we have all these huge power lines. So a lot of them want to plant a pin oak tree underneath the power line. I said, y'all need to remove that because Georgia Powers are going to come right along and mow it down. So, that's the things I look at landscaping.
The tree survey, that will be done by engineers also, because now we have tree ordinances, correct?
yes, that's correct. That's already incorporated into Chapter 7, the landscaping ordinance.
So trees will be identified on the property
Yes.
that can or cannot be cut.
Yes.
Okay. And then, I've got a bunch of others, but this is only we get another reading.
But this was public
Oh, we see
hearings.
that
We
too.
get 2 readings.
Yeah, I have some corrections or clarifications too, so, 2 of them jumped out at me was, on page 19 of our packet. Page 5 of the document, section 90-92, planning zoning board membership. The last line needs correction, at a minimum of 5, parentheses, 50.
Yes, that's one that's one
I
in
knew
for
it was supposed to
correction.
be
Yes.
parentheses.
Yes.
Another one was the correction was on page 17 of the document, section 90-11, subsection B, item 5. It had 15 feet in diameter for culvert. I said, that's way too much.
That's supposed to be 15 inches.
Okay.
I could drive a truck with it.
I'll make sure that
That's a
those
box
are-
culvert.
Yeah. Let's see. Where's the other?
Didn't even catch that. You know how you just read on and like.
Terry, at what point will all of this be
Yeah.
enforced and
So 10 days after second reading is when it technically can be enforced. Our goal all along has been to do education first, especially because we're making some pretty significant changes. And then to, start with, anything that would be an enforcement issue, say with the sign or something like that, do a warning for, education, warning, citation.
Right, and how are we doing with code enforcement officer, speaking of code enforcement?
Well, we've been through a couple rounds of interviews. Unfortunately, nobody has kind of been the right fit. We want somebody that's gonna be here for a while, it's gonna be the right person for the job. I wanna have a good feeling that they're gonna be able to go out there and have the right attitude about the type of code enforcement we wanna see out there. And unfortunately, a couple of people that looked really good on paper because they had significant code enforcement experience, once we interviewed them, were not the right person for the job. We had a lead on somebody else that we had done a virtual interview with because she's not local. We were very helpful with her, but unfortunately communications have kind of fallen off there. So I've talked to Robbie about it, and we're looking at a couple of different avenues to go. But we're hopeful to,
That's a good thing, just to take account.
Yeah,
Make
get
sure
right.
you get the right person in place.
I'm seeing things out there, like we rode through yesterday, Governor's Ridge, and I saw some semi trucks parked in yards and saw a lot of yards looking really bad, but I thought that's just heaping on y'all right now.
if there's anything super egregious, so we had the couch that was sitting out on Wise and Baker for a while, anything like that, you can certainly pass our way, and as he has time, we'll have David take care of it. But you're right, I mean, we can't do everything that we would do with a full-time code enforcement officer.
The other question I have is on section 90-118, the water supply and sewer system. There was no mention of the purple pipe being laid at new developments. I didn't see purple pipe mentioned anywhere in this whole document. And I thought that was something that we were requiring.
I feel like we had it in another chapter that already
Yeah, I
came
wasn't
before
sure if
you,
it was
but
in another section that I forgot about. Just couldn't
I
find
think
it.
it's come before us already.
Yeah, I think it has, but
I think so too, but I will make sure, and when it comes before you for first reading,
that
I'll let you know.
specified water systems and sewer
Right.
system, that goes along with that.
Okay,
Yeah. And the rest of it was, I got some corrections on just grammatical stuff, if I can stop by.
okay, yes, please, anybody, feel free to stop by and talk to me about any concerns or questions you have. I know we're talking about some big changes, especially in these chapters, but but we're excited to move them forward. I got so excited about the development changes, I didn't talk about the subdivision changes. With those, it's not, we're not doing much for changes there. We are looking at doing minor subdivisions, making it more than just 2 lots. It's gonna be 4 lots or fewer, will be a minor subdivision approved at the staff level. Anything bigger than that comes to council, planning and zoning board and council. Any other questions?
The other concern I had was, I'm sorry, I'll just read, it was talking about the, land disturbance sections, all of those. It talked about, how you protect the waterways and all that with the,
That's the next section. We didn't have that yet, have we?
yeah.
That's,
But no, this was in the very back of this section 90-126. Land development disturbances. I think that was this one.
6, guys, it's in here, let's see.
The drainage, okay.
My concern on that was, it talked about disturbing land, and I know like the 2 developments down on Fort Howard, they're undergoing construction now. They're pushing up all the trees and piling them up and burning. So we needed to address, it didn't mention anything about when it's disturbed, what happens to the debris. My thoughts are to try to reduce the burning in the city is to outlaw the burning, but to have a grinder where they grind up all the material, mulch it, and also, or they could use, if they do have to burn, they could use some of those where they have blow the air into, and it's a super hot furnace, and it burns very hot, and it produces very little smoke. I've seen that too, so those are the 2 things that we need to maybe take a look at.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, especially like, the reason I say that is what, and I'll get to the other section concerning burning too, is like with the disasters, anytime what we may want to consider anytime a disaster is declared by the city, the county, state, feds, there's no burning period in the city limits. Simply because people didn't have power. They opened their windows, it was hot. They tried to cool off and then the neighbor next door has got a brush pile and wants to burn and all the smoke goes in the house. So, and it's happened to several people that I've talked to lately. That happened with Hurricane Helene and Milton.
But I think anytime anybody does land disturbance, mulching's gonna be better than burning.
Mulching is my preferred.
That subdivision down there at that they're doing and clearing now, I think, Gus and Fort Howard. Lincoln Elementary every morning smells like smoke.
You could, Mr. Blackwell's correct, though. If you require them to do a pit with a blower, that's night and day better than burning on top, and you won't have the smoke, you won't have as much smoke. It burns it hot and it burns it fast.
But somebody did that here recently, and I forget who it was, but it worked really well. And they burn it like in 2 days.
Yes, you should require a pit and blower.
Hit and blower or grind it, mulching.
Okay.
One of those two options work for me.
Okay, well, I'll make changes, based on this conversation and then bring that back to everybody with a memo for a first reading.
Thinking about annexing. Grow population wise, and that's gonna be a key part on the land discussion.
Well, you're working on burning, checking into some burning regulations.
Yeah, Lou and I are,
Yeah.
the chief and I are working on that together, fire chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If any other member of the public would like to opine, either in favor or in disfavor on the proposed amendments, now is your chance. Hearing none, I will turn the meeting back over to Mr. Exley.
All right, we got a, motions in order to approve the consent agenda as it reads.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Underwood, second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We're scratching new business 1. New business 2, vote to approve the first reading of an ordinance by mayor and city council for the city of Lincoln repealing the code of the city of Lincoln, Georgia at chapter 34 and chapter 42 to be replaced with chapter 90, section 90-308 through 90-345, to provide for notice, to provide for severability, to provide an effective date, to repeal all ordinances and parts of the ordinances in conflict herewith and for other purposes.
That's Okay, so these are the chapters that we had the public hearing on at the last meeting. This is enforcement and flooding. So as we talked about, we didn't really make many changes to the flooding chapter. With enforcement, we did make some changes. I know council had some concerns, so we went ahead and made sure that we reflected those concerns in what was changed for first reading. So we removed the requirement that you could have a tarp over a vehicle in a driveway. We allowed 30 days for that vehicle to be in the driveway before it would be, before somebody would receive a citation. We strengthened the language related to lights and how they could be bothering a neighboring property. So this is first reading. And then we would have second reading at the next meeting.
I'll stop in one day and talk to you about the buffers on waterways.
Okay,
I've got some of my questions that we need to probably talk about tonight. On page 65, that's, no land disturbing activities. Once the final stabilization of the site is achieved, the buffer may be thinned or trimmed with vegetation as long as protected vegetative natural canopy is left in sufficient quantity to keep shade on the stream bed. My question is, who's gonna monitor that? And what happens when they go in there and clear cut? I mean, I know that's code enforcement, but that's a biggie.
Well, site plans are visited. You know, when they
This
do the
is
site,
vegetation along the creek,
yeah.
like shrubs and.
Yeah, the
Clear
two
cut.
properties we've talked about mentioned earlier, back up to the creek back there along, that area, so.
Both,
not-
both of them, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how far they back up, like, you can't drive back there, right?
Well, regulate that. It's part of our one that's been, that goes back to our administration back.
Could be also from the,
But you know, we go in with a tree's identified on the plan. And you know, if the tree's cut down, then there'll be a fine.
legacy tree, yeah.
The legacy trees, but it's hard to identify and name that vegetation. I mean, that's, it was just, I wanted to throw that out there, I was curious on that. And,
You talking of, excuse me, I'm sorry, the buffers to the state waters? I wouldn't think you would be able to go in there at all.
Cause that's pretty clear in that state law.
And man, Corps engineers would regulate all of that. If we identify it, then we can report it to the court. But who was enforcing it, we can't enforce it.
We'll look into that.
yeah, because it's mentioned several many times in here. I mean, that same thing's mentioned several many times. But yeah, if it's core regulated, I know people that live up on Clark Hill can't touch anything, barely cut the grass. And then, I did talk to Terry briefly, page 73 talks about, animals or fowl shall be kept at the following minimum distances for any occupied building except the dwelling of an owner. And it allows for, fewer than 4 swines at 300 feet from a house and more than 4 at 900 feet. And I just don't think we need swine in the city of Lincoln. I'm just,
Yeah.
unless it's listed as a farm, because in reality, if you go out 4th Street, the Exley property is several hundred acres. And further on down, the Morgan property, several hundred acres.
There are several properties
So
in the city.
I think if it's listed as a farm,
They have to have.
So I would say,
But the
that like
trailer park-
acreage, if they have acreage,
it's listed as farm.
Well,
it'd say,
The qualification would be the acreage, but Ms. Taylor's saying, like, most lots in here are a quarter acre or a half acre in size, some are acre. But anything, say, we deal with we did like, I think it's 2 acres, anything 2 acres and above might be able to.
Well, but I mean,
It's qualification for.
I would think 5 or more.
I think that
Pigs,
if
yeah.
it's residential,
Kids think it-
if it's residential, you don't need swine.
I was gonna say, the other thing you can do in addition to the acreage requirement is also require that it be in the one of the 2 agricultural districts. So
yeah.
it could be agricultural plus the 5
Yeah,
acre.
and I'm thinking 5 acres, because
Well, from a legal perspective, the more constraining of the two requirements would control. So that can be one requirement, but it would still come down to what you're zoned as.
Right.
Oh,
The zoning, yeah.
That's right.
hey, listen,
It's the chickens in the train. I start catching them in my parking lot.
I have a question on section 90-315 about vehicles and parking. It said we was talking about, I think that's where it says you can't park on the front lawn and leave it there, that kind of. But does it mention, parking on the sidewalks, or is that covered under another ordinance? Cause I see that a lot where people pull up and park on the sidewalk. And so whoever wants to walk around the neighborhood has to divert around the parked car on the sidewalk.
That may be covered somewhere else, but I will look through our codes, because it could be in a section that's not even part of the UDO section. I'll look and see and find out.
Seems like I've heard that somewhere else, but I don't know if it's on our ordinances or laws that the police can enforce. Traffic.
I was an LP and somebody
We
would have
didn't
blocked.
block, so that's the one definitely because, had complaints about that.
And they park on it.
When I talked to the chief about it, there was some restrictions, what they didn't do.
It's
So you have
cracked the
to take
sidewalk because
The
that's
HOA,
designed for a vehicle.
well, it's not city owned sidewalks inside a
Oh, yes,
neighborhood.
they are.
Neighborhood.
All of them. That's in the right of way sidewalk. Because all the utility poles and telephone hookups and cable hookups are behind the sidewalks in the yard.
So,
They gotta be built 15 feet of utility easement in my yard.
Yeah.
Just like an LP,
Yeah.
it's up to us to put AV needs striking down.
Okay, well, looking, if there's nothing in another section of code to have that provision, then we'll add it here in enforcement. So, and it may be good to have it in enforcement anyway. That's what we've been trying to do throughout the code, is try to capture anything that's a regular violation.
So we need to make a motion and consider the changes and recommendations we made.
Well, we can,
We'll go to approve the first
yeah,
reading.
we can read the sheet, which is the second reading.
Have to
I have a
know.
couple more, but I can give it to
make a
you.
motion to approve the first reading.
Second. I got a motion by Ms. Riley, a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
I would just add that whatever the changes are, they need to be incorporated by and through the second reading.
Yes,
It's correct, yeah.
so everybody can get the notes together with that.
Right.
New business item number 3, request approval to allow beer and wine to be sold. Yeah.
Oh, she.
For the vote.
Oh,
I pick it up.
yes.
If y'all discuss it, I do.
It's recommended.
Just right.
It's recommended. It doesn't have to, but.
New business number 3, request approval to allow beer and wine to be sold at the 2024 Lincoln Rodeo. Anybody have anything they want to add to this?
Did we ever determine, is it us got issued the license or have the license that they operate under us? Or does each individual vendor that will sell alcohol have to have a license?
We looked at it and it's permitted, but I was under the impression when I looked at it, the individual vendors needed to get their own permit.
Okay, so, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
that was the whole.
Are we gonna let the people who sell beer and wine, police themselves, or are we gonna sell bracelets at the gate?
We have to have ID checkers. I don't know.
Great.
And bands, and
You
bands.
might be educated here. The council will.
Well, 'cause I know Dina's talked about it for Christmas market.
So what we talked about doing, for the Christmas market, and I don't know if we're prepared for it for the rodeo, but what we talked about doing at the Christmas market is having an ID wristband, and you would actually pay a small fee for the wristband, and then you would receive a drink ticket to essentially pay you back for buying the wristband, but that would give us the opportunity to ID everybody. As far as the licenses go, I don't know if we have time to be able to get a license before the rodeo.
Well, no, they should have license though. Their
Right.
license would carry. Yeah.
They need a special
license.
That already have a license.
Right.
Yeah.
And we
I
already
think we can, or you can get the bracelets. I think we can get the bracelets done by then. That's fine.
We can get it.
Yeah, let's do that.
What they do in Springfield, when they have their things, is you can't buy anything if you don't have the bracelet.
That's right, right. And I'm assuming someone over legal age needs to be checking IDs and giving out the bracelets.
That's what we would do. We would have staff members there to check the ID, definitely over 21 to do that, give out the
I
bracelet.
say we have an ID stand.
Yeah.
People go to,
There's
they
just-
have to go in, they have to get a bracelet before they can purchase alcohol, anybody in the park.
That's for the rodeo, whereas the Christmas village will have pay the fee, I guess.
As they, well, no, as they come in, you'll.
Check for ID.
Also for the break.
That's not.
And you prefer it being the vendor.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we're gonna check IDs.
Right.
Yeah.
I make a motion.
Second,
With the recommended solutions we talked
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Make a motion with recommended solutions.
Okay, I got a motion by Ms. Underwood, I got a second by Ms. Taylor. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, could we go back to one, did we table that to the next meeting?
Well,
Move it to the next meeting?
they're just gonna come back, and fill out a new sheet, because they're not exactly sure when.
Okay.
We'd like to do it the next.
Okay.
meeting, I'm gonna let that kind of be on them, if that's okay with you. All right, new business item number 4, vote to accept 8 streetlights located in Hickory Knob Phase 13.
So typically, this would have come when council accepted the roads. They weren't ready with the streetlights yet then. They are ready now. Went ahead and included a map that we had gotten from the developer that showed the location of the streetlights. So our code does require that for them to be accepted, it does have to be done by mayor and council.
And they are the right, I mean, we have something stating how far apart and. things
Yes,
like
yes,
that.
they're already in.
They're-
installed.
Yeah, I know there were intersections and then it's along the
Well,
grade areas.
I do have a question, because pole number 1 is not at an intersection, and I feel like your light needs to be at the intersection so people can identify streets. It's like about 3 blocks up on a curve, so,
So maybe have them add one more.
well,
Or is there one from the previous section?
You can move 1 back to the intersection, and maybe just move 2 back a little bit, I mean, but I mean, they should be at the intersection, it's kind of hard to read this map. Just saying.
Is there one, that's what I was wondering, where that intersection at 1 is. Is there another light from the previous section that would cover that intersection?
I mean,
See?
where 1 is, I
Right.
kind of like it because it's on the
That's
curve.
the previous.
Is
Their light.
See, 1's not at the intersection.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But Mona, 1 is in that curve, like there kind of needs to be one in that curve.
Based on
I can,
the floor of the light, because you look at 8,
Well,
the
there's not,
little light spread, 8 will fall down.
it's not gonna cover that intersection, it's not a line.
yes.
Georgia Power has computer.
Yeah, generated layout, 8 is still light, and how to move them,
Yeah.
speeds off. We got it on the curve, yeah, feedback, more speed, and back to that curve, because that's a short distance.
Well, it's just.
Where number 1 is, where that light, where that curve is.
Let's just not.
You know, you can have 2-foot lots there.
And I'm just saying that there might be a light further back in the whole section that covers that area too. It's not marked on the map.
This is the final thing of the entire section. Phase 13.
I went there tonight, check it out.
And you're gonna have to walk in the hands on. To the curve.
Yeah.
That's not like that, and that on the end, that side of that curve's not on it.
I wonder though if there's one here in Warrington. If you look at where number 1 is, because I do agree with the need to see it on the curve. That's probably why they put it there, because that light don't loom right on the curve. So they probably put it on that curve.
But if it's in that curve, it's going both directions or right. It makes sense to be in the curve. But I don't, I wouldn't be opposed to an additional one, but if we don't know for certain if there's one in the existing section or not.
It's to the intersection.
Well, I was gonna say, we can, if,
Prove up the-
if they would add another one at the
If they-
intersection.
if they don't Test by square foot, and if they did that, then
Okay.
it covers it, you know?
Right, typically we would get that with the subdivision plan, it would show the light pole, and then it would show how far out the reach came for each of those lights, so,
Get that?
no. But,
And this is. So no representative came for this tonight.
that's correct.
They sent you. Yeah.
If
I guess
Georgia Power put them in, we can call Georgia Power. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, they could add another one if it's needed to be added.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would,
But would it be good for us to just go approve up to 10?
yes, sir, you could, you could.
Because we're taking them over no matter what.
Yeah.
so.
So that, he's right, let's just approve up to
Yeah.
10 on there. Then, if Georgia Power comes back and says that that loom works for 8, then just, we won't need it.
This one wasn't done by Georgia Power, it was just a red Sharpie marker. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve this amended for up to 10 lots.
Okay.
Motion by Ms. Riley, I got a second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. New business number 5, we will have. Gina, you like to come over? Yep.
Okay, so you guys all have a packet. And this is, this was a conversation that turned into an idea that is now going to be a really great event for Lincoln, we hope.
Super excited.
Yes, this is a really has consumed my brain for the last 2 weeks, and I have done nothing but eat, sleep, and drink it. So we have 2 events, essentially. We have 3 events. We have our parade. Our parade ends in our first annual Christmas market and festival. It's a European themed, sort of fun Christmas market. On the second page, I went out there with the chief, and you guys, please don't kill me on my scale here, but this is kind of to scale of what we can provide as far as vendor locations. We have a giant tent that we're doing. We have a 60 by 40 ice rink that comes with 75 skates. And we've already been in touch with some food vendors, and Lowe's is going to do a community project out there for us. That's going to include a couple of fire pits and possibly our Santa Claus seating where people can sit and take pictures with their family. We've got a lot of fun things planned. This is a 2-day event. People can pay to skate, have a good time, walk around the vendor market for free. They can pay if they would like to drink and get a bracelet. And we hope that it's going to be, something fun, really great, and very festive for Thanksgiving weekend. And then the Wednesday after Thanksgiving starts skating in the South. And that, I propose we open this Wednesday through Friday from 5 to 10, Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 10. So be ice skating, a smaller scale of vendors, and the fire pits, of course. I propose that we do some fun stuff like have group night or have student night or have a night where we do a blow up projector. Thank you very much. We can watch movies. I've got photos with the Grinch, photos with Santa. And I've actually, believe it or not, worked out all these details already, and it's also in your packet. I've got our vendor form, I've got our waiver form that we're getting looked at to make sure that we're gonna be okay on that. The vendor form is kind of paste and copy from what we had before. I gave you guys all the quick rink information, and that tells you everything you could possibly want to know about the company that we're looking to purchase this rink from. It's a 60 by 40 synthetic rink. It lasts for 10 to 12 years. It's got fencing around it. What it does require that's additional is tongue and groove plywood and possibly a little bit of a plastic barrier, like a vinyl barrier between the ground and the plywood goes under the rink. It's probably going to take us a few days the first time to set it up because we've not done it before, but the guy that owns this company is very helpful and more than willing to work with us and help us anyway that he won't be here, but he'll help us that way. After the quick rink information, I put some of the additional, and I left a few lines for you guys to write things in if you need something. Few additional things that are going to cost money, and I did a little search on Amazon to find what we needed. In Savannah, you can rent a little, you know how little kids can't really ice skate, so there's like a little thing that they can hold on to, right? I found them as low as $27. If we had 10 of them, I think that'd probably be plenty. The ice rink holds 42 people at a time. So when doing the math on this, if it was half, if we had 20 people an hour at 135 hours, we stand to almost make back the money we spend on this rink in the first year. And if it was just half.
Half capacity.
Yeah. half capacity. And I suspect particularly with the additional events that we'll have a really good turnout. I know people will go to Savannah and go to the Civic Center and, you know, pay a lot of money just to get in to watch their kids skate. For our event, they don't have to pay to come in. They can come in and sit and have a beverage, eat some food and watch their kids skate and have a good time.
I have questions.
Mm-hmm.
So he charges $150 an hour, because he looks like he's awesome. But will there be an opportunity for people to get their own photos with him? Because I don't see paying him and then our citizens having to pay his costs.
So the citizens will not have to pay him if they want to take a picture with their phone.
Okay.
If they would like an additional photo, there is a photographer there that will charge $10 and they will pay her for the photograph. The Grinch is absolutely free. We have to buy a Grinch costume. It's about $100. I have a picture of one on the back page there. Huh? Our new, yeah, Bobby. Our new assistant court clerk, her husband is going to do it for us. He's volunteered and he's extremely excited about doing it. He's about 6'3", so he should be a perfect Grinch.
You just have to buy the costume.
We just have to buy the costume and then it'll be ours. So some of the other additional costs are, we need a handy house for our skates. This is gonna be where we store our skates and also where the skates are rented from. And Mayor Pro Tem Exley is going to look into that for me.
I just told him I'd call Andy,
Mhm.
see if Andy, the mayor in Guyton, he owns the Pioneer Handy House. Maybe he can cut us a break on a handy house. And on top of that, Gina and I spoke about going ahead and putting the building, having the cubbies built in it.
Yeah.
So that they just pull them out, put their shoes in there, and then when they return, they get their shoes back. And then have somebody just kind of work in that.
So staffing is another, obviously something that we have to look at and get on pretty quick. We need to talk about off-duty security out there, having officers out there, how much we need. Chief was working on that for me before he suffered his loss this weekend. So I'm sure that he'll help me out with that. You know, he's looking at the costs and
Yeah,
what that's
and
gonna
we
be.
all do. Cool. So I know that we have a lot of people that work the concession stand that they already know at the rec department. So that might not be a bad place to go to get some of those guys.
Make good Christmas money.
Yeah, make some Christmas money while they're out of school.
I propose, you know, that we have some permanent vendors on this sheet, the one that's the actual Christmas market event. And I don't know if you guys realize, but the parking has changed because we're losing our parking here. So we're gonna drive over Prosperity, come up and then park back over here.
Yeah.
These are our permanent buildings that come in on Wednesday, by the way. So we'll have somebody out there getting these put together on Wednesday. They will stay there. These are additional vendors and additional vendors. I have talked to Mona and everybody, all the ladies. We were all in a group chat this weekend talking about this event. So everyone's been amazing as far as pitching ideas and coming up with fun things. But I would love to have, you know, like maybe pop-up tents here that people could, if a vendor wanted to come out and, you know, just looks more uniform, and then maybe put our other vendors over here. That was sort of my thought. But, you know, I'm sure this thing will grow as we go.
Well, we have plugs on both sides, so that would work great.
We have plugs here. We do not have plugs here.
Right, on this side and the back here.
We have plugs here.
Yeah.
Well, we have plugs here. We have a plug near the stage here. And then we have plugs all there and water and then plugs
Yeah,
here.
and we do need to, just while we're talking about that, when we had the fair, there was, we need to just have an electrician run out there because some of those didn't work where we plugged in our ticket booths. And we just need to make sure all of them are good. And a lot of them, it was so loose when they plugged them in, I mean, it just wouldn't stay in, so.
We probably didn't get that done before the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, get it done before the rodeo.
Alex probably need to
And-
change that.
Yeah, and I think we already purchased, 4 of those tents that we had from Lowe's, and they gave us an incredible deal on
These,
the tents from this side.
Oh, we have tents?
Yeah, we bought tents, during the, food giveaway, and I mean, they're really nice. Yeah, so they're blue. Yeah, well, see what they got.
We could take the blue and put over, but I'm.
We could.
afraid Beautification has a little bit of money left. We're meeting in the morning with beautification, the three of us ladies, to look at using some of their funds. Decorations.
So something I saw today when I went over to Lowe's, because I'm still talking to them about everything, they have some nutcrackers that are about this tall, and you can Bluetooth music to them. So as people were walking in, you know, that we have a cool arch too, and they also have a really cool, fun, colorful arch. But as people were walking in, we'd be playing Christmas music. So some of the other things that we need to look at is we need the PA and stuff from the rec department. So there's just a few little minor details that we need to work out and a little bit more expense.
But I
But
think you get with Ashton there, because I know they've got the big movie screens, they've got to have the projector, and it's probably got the PA system and everything, so.
Right, well, wait, those tents, can't you just buy a new topper for those?
You know,
You might.
So check into
and
that,
not just the frame, yeah.
right, because sometimes, you know, you should be able to, because they just Velcro on.
They do, you're right.
So,
It would be less of an expense than buying the entire thing, yeah. But are the vendor spots 10 by 10 or 12 by 12?
whatever. size.
And,
It was 12 by 12.
So,
And if you did that, Michelle, you could swap them out and have those for the 4th.
Yep.
And then turn.
yeah, if they were a red top, you could use the blue for.
You could do the red and blue for the floor.
so what are the total expenses we need to vote on?
So the total expense for the ice rink is 40, no, I have it right, I have it in your sheet there.
What it would be to rent it, Gina, versus.
To rent it, it's,
It's in our packet.
yeah, it's $31,475 to rent for a month. And to purchase it, it's $49,570.
It just makes
That's
sense,
correct.
with it being good for 10 to 12 years, to go ahead and purchase it so that we can do this every year for the community.
If we did the same.
It becomes sustainable,
Yeah, I think we make more.
Are you gonna come skate, Levi? Huh? Are you gonna come skate?
You'll be not watching.
Get your hands up.
Just to be able to help it up.
You ain't gotta worry about helping me up, because I'm gonna use one in $47. Walkers.
Yeah, what we need to vote on for expenditures, not for your.
I got-
What's on our agenda is to vote on the rent or purchase of the synthetic ice rink. I think we need to amend that to vote on the approval of the rink plus an additional amount of funds to go toward tents, decorations and things like that. And then the handy house is expensive. The additional staffing,
Plywood.
It's,
Say 3/4 inch.
just the 20 by 60 tent, for them to sit under is almost $6,000 for handy house. I think we need to at least provide an additional $20,000 in funds to handle the big tent, the handy house.
I
Does
agree.
that sound like a fair amount?
Question, Gina, we ordering all this stuff and if it's approved and we order it, where are we storing it off season? Does anybody?
We had two containers for the new ornaments, new decoration. He got 2 more.
Where are these containers being?
The public works. Yes, sir. So the good thing about the ice rink, it breaks apart.
And it's
and
right
it's
there
flat.
where we're setting up. So it's not big.
And the
See the
skates will
picture?
stay in the handy house, and the handy house can be picked up.
Yeah, yeah. The other question you're talking about the handy hand with the store, gates in, and
So
when you turn the skate
Large,
in.
the large
well, they-
tent
they
is
get the-
6,000. And the
Yeah,
handy
maybe
house would probably.
have to get some Lifeguard. Yeah, exactly.
We need to have that. That's all I want.
Absolutely. You need to get yours started. Yeah.
Same point you may recommend.
Yeah.
That they can, he can kind of move a little bit.
Have additional.
Yeah, let's do 25 additional, and then that way, if something comes up, small, Robbie can. Yep.
So we have, you know, we have 5 of those houses and we will have them for the rodeo.
Yeah.
Okay, we can get them in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If you guys see that at the rodeo that you like them and you think that that's gonna be something that, and I feel like every holiday, every event that we have at Freedom Park will be able to use them. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what I'm talking about, but they open up, they've got shelves in them. They're essentially a backyard bar, but they look like these little buildings. They have they pop up like this and then a little, the front part comes out. And so these are gonna be our premium vendors. We're gonna make sure that their booths are decorated and that they have the types of things that people are gonna wanna buy at Christmas. So, yeah. But if you do see that you like them, you know that we will probably have the money additional to purchase more if we want them.
Because we can charge, we can charge them.
I think we need to go blanket $75,000 approval to purchase the rink and the additional items needed to pull off this event.
I think so too.
Thoughts?
I think so.
So I make a motion to approve $75,000 to go for the Christmas market festival and the skating rink.
So,
But wait a minute, beautification is what, 40,000?
46,000.
How much?
46,000.
These funds are not gonna come out.
They're not coming out of-
No, not with this stuff.
Oh, okay.
Christmas decorations to decorate.
Oh, and while I have you guys, I would love to get that stage painted either dark gray or black. It is,
Right.
That's not an item that needs to come to.
okay, gotcha. Right, on.
Second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for taking this and going with it. It's gonna be great. And, I just cannot wait to see our new city manager of the Grange. I'm excited about that. It's better than. We need to change the wording agenda.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
update the agenda item to.
Yeah,
Purchase, but let's just add
to purchase.
See, because she has-
And the.
Yeah.
Leah's got it, guys.
And she'll.
Yeah.
Purchase. Yeah. Is there a need for executive session tonight? Yes, it is.
3 minutes.
Dennis,
Much more.
You'll give me the information.
They're at the rec park.
Yeah.
They should be at the rec park.
And Lowe's, though, if you talk to Stephanie, she's the one that got them for us, so you can take care of that with her. All right,
You should go to executive session.
Second.
got a motion by Ms. Taylor to go into executive session. I got a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Reason. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor Maynard. Hold on.